Hey guys, this is Dr. Michael Young. I'm the professor that's teaching your BA 465 International Management course this semester. So, we have 8 people in this class as of today. Today is Sunday, August 6th. So I'm going to post this video. You'll be able to see it tomorrow when the course goes up live. What I'm going to do in this short video, introduce the topic, talk about the grades, talk about the schedule, and give you a few expectations, a few ideas of what's expected. And yeah, just, this is just a way so that we can get acquainted before the course. So first things first, let's see who we have registered for the course. Now your name should show up on this list. If it's not, then you need to, well, you couldn't be seeing this. But anyway, so far we've got Jordan Dalton, we got Courtney Keller, Olivia McLean, Becky Sizemore, Alexis Spuddick, Tuva Wallen, and Randy Warner, and Andrew Whitman. So these are our students, these are your classmates, these are the people that we'll be having our discussions with when we have our discussions. These are the people that you can maybe confer with when you talk about your assignments and so forth. Next thing, if you go to My Online, you should see the BA 465 course up there as one of the courses that you have access to. You click on that link, it's going to take you to our course page. It's going to look something like this. This is my contact information. I'm in Cole Complex 308B. Some of you I have met, some of you I have not, but I have classes on Monday and Wednesday. Those are the days that I'm going to be on campus. So these office hours are structured so that they are around my classes. Okay. Let me talk a little bit about myself. I am a West Virginia native. I live in Putnam County. I grew up here. Graduated from Buffalo High School. I'll talk more about that in just a moment. My more immediate experience. I've been here as an associate professor at State since 21. So this is my 3rd year here at State. Before I came here, I was at a little place down in Boone, North Carolina called Appalachian State University. I was there for 4 years before I came back home. Let the country roads take me home to West Virginia. Yeah, I guess my big claim to fame, if I have one here at State, is I am truly an international guy. Although I'm from West Virginia, from the Kanawha Valley here, I spent most of my career overseas. I taught in Hong Kong. I taught at Chinese University of Hong Kong. I spent some time in actual mainland China, Lanzhou University, and for the 11 years before I came back, I was at Hong Kong Baptist University, where I actually was head of department, running the MBA programs, and doing a lot of other stuff. So yeah, I also have experience outside of academia. Most of that was in West Virginia. I worked at Charleston National Bank before it became Bank One. I worked for West Virginia Governor's Office of Community Development for several years. I worked for the Department of Employment Security as an economist. Yeah, my PhD is actually from UConn. Go Huskies! And before I did my PhD, I did my MA in economics, also at UConn. I graduated from what was then West Virginia State College in 1986. All right. Now, I'm not going to go through too much of this, but if you're interested, most of my research is in the area of Chinese management practice. So, yeah, you can go down through here. If you are interested in any of these articles, you see something on my CV that you would be interested in, hey, I'm more than happy to brag and share this information with you. Okay? Also, I can speak Chinese. I mean, I was in China for so many years. It's a little bit rusty now, but I can get by in speaking Chinese. So that's another little thing I got going for me. Enough of that talking about me. Let's move on. What you're interested in, let's talk about our course. This course, International Management, I think is a very interesting course. Of course, I've spent all my life, my career has been in the area of international management, so I'm biased, right? I think being international, going international, doing things internationally, and thinking about international topics is rewarding in two ways. It can help your career, but I also find it intrinsically rewarding. I love visiting different countries. I love travel to international spots. I've traveled to nearly every country in Asia, traveled to South America, traveled to Europe, and I really encourage you, if you have a chance to go abroad, to add something to your resume, to add something to your career, to make your life richer. So yeah, this is the information here. We already talked about the office hours. This is the course description. It's an exciting time to be studying international management. There are lots of things happening on the international stage. And again, if you can bring your gaze outside of West Virginia. I know not everyone here is from West Virginia. We have some out-of-state students, but several of you are from West Virginia, I know for a fact. And even if you're from another state, internationally, looking internationally really does change your perspective. I find that looking at things internationally not only increases the scope of your knowledge, but also increases the way that you understand our own economy, our own world, because much of what we take for granted is just one way of looking at things. And the more you have an international mindset, the more you realize that. Yeah, so let's get right on down to this. This is the objectives and the outcomes. Yeah, we'll talk about trade and investment. We're going to talk about international institutions. We'll talk about cultural differences. We have several tools that we use to analyze and specifically measure cultural differences. And we are going to, look at other major issues. The textbook we're using is Hill and Halt. It's the 2021, I believe that's right, I don't know. The version that's over at the bookstore, the 14th edition. You're also going to have to get a code so that you can do the Smart Book assignments, the Royal Hill Smart Book assignments. Okay? We have 14 of those Smart Book assignments. Each one is worth 10 points. If you've taken other online courses, you've probably done this. It's you read the chapters, and as you read the chapters, it tests your comprehension and retention, so that you have to get through each one. You have to understand it. You have to be able to recall some of the information. Right? So we got 14 of those, 10 points each. By the way, I'm still setting that up. It might take a while, but hopefully it'll be set up soon. We have discussions. 25 points each. These are coming every other week. So we have 6 of those. So this adds up to a total of 150 points. You've done this before. We have lots of different topics. I try to choose topics that I think are interesting. To try to pique your interest in international management. We have quizzes. 7 quizzes at 20 points each, which comes to 140 points. We have 1 midterm exam and 1 final exam. I'm also going to ask you to do a recorded video presentation, which I'm going to talk about just in a moment when I go through each of these assignments. So, yeah, altogether we have 1,000 points possible. no surprises here. We're following the university grade scale. 60, 70, 80, 90. Each of those is a cutoff for each of the grades. Right? Smart book assignments. Alright. There's a link on the page, which I'm going to go to in just a moment. And I've tried to make each of those so that it's an hour or less. We have 14 of those all together. Okay? The discussion. Well, we have a discussion every week, but only 6 of those are going to be graded. You've done this before. You're expected to make an initial comment on the topic, and then reply at least twice to some other person's comments, so that we have a running discussion. Okay. And there's information about the discussion grading rubric is posted on the course webpage. I'll go back to that in just a moment and we'll talk about that. Alright. Quizzes. We have 7 of those. Each one's covering 2 chapters. Each one's worth 20 points. 40 questions, and you have 45 minutes. Midterm, it's going to be all essay. The midterm exam is going to be designed in such a way that it's going to somehow ask you to reflect on the course material. This is the midterm and final. The midterm will cover chapters 1 through 9, and the final exam will cover chapters 10 through 14. Of course, they're open book and open notes. Since this is online, you have an entire week to do it. It's very rare that we get makeup exams for the midterm final exam. For the video recording, I'm going to introduce something called Michael Porter's Diamond Model. It's in the chapter, one of the chapters, I forget which one right now. But yeah, you're going to be asked to do a recording kind of like I'm doing now, in which you're going to describe this model. The model, Michael Porter's Diamond Model, it looks at why countries are competitive in certain industries. So what you're going to have to do for this particular project, you're going to choose a country, choose an industry, and then come up with a 15-minute video that explains the model. This is due by Saturday, November 9th. I am going to submit these all once they're done so that the entire class can see them. Everything is going to be public. This is 120 points. So, yeah, I believe that's pretty much it for the course syllabus. Schedule, pretty straightforward. Pretty much every week we're doing a different chapter. This is not an 8-week course, of course, this is a 16-week course. So you have, for each of these weeks, you have what's due for that particular week. That's that particular link. Now, some other things I'm going to point out here. Department and university policies, including Title IX legislation, which we're required to present to you. That's here. This is a rubric for grading the discussion if you're looking for how the discussions are graded. I have 2 different versions of this up here so you can look at both. This is for the registration for McGraw-Hill campus. Alright? And this is a student registration Moodle for other LMS integration. Later, you'll go into this link when you want to do your SmartBook assignment. Okay? So let's look a little bit going down through the content. For each of these modules, for each of these weeks, for each of these topics, for each of these chapters, I have put together a little introduction video to the topic. So you can start off by looking at that. You can then look at the objectives. This is the reading assignment. These are the PowerPoint files. These are supplemental resources. This is where you will link in for your SmartBook assignment. And our first graded discussion is talking about would you like to study in Hong Kong? I have access to some people at Hong Kong Baptist University, and they're giving away free scholarships just to increase diversity. I'm going to talk more about that later, but that's going to be our first discussion is would you like to study in Hong Kong? All right. And for every week, we have a little fun video that I just posted up here, usually old music videos. And then some of the others are more serious. First week really is just globalization and deglobalization. What is globalization? Well, actually, a lot of people think we're living through a period of deglobalization right now. There's the main actors here. There's several things driving this. COVID. COVID made people realize that global integration had problems. Supply chains got disrupted. We realized that if we rely on just-in-time management like the Toyota plant in Buffalo, West Virginia, which is near my home here, then if we have a problem, then we may have, if there's a disease or some other war or whatever, political upheaval, then this causes problems for the supply chain. COVID really drove that home. So this made a lot of people start talking about localization of their supply chains. And so this is driving it. Another thing that's driving it is Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This has caused upheaval. We don't realize it here in West Virginia in our little valley. We're sort of insulated from all of these things that are happening internationally. But that's caused a major upheaval. It's caused supply chains to be disrupted. Oil is a major factor, and people are taking sides in that dispute. The third thing is China. China has taken a different direction since Xi Jinping, the current president of the Communist Party. Xi Jinping has taken China in a different direction, in which it's sort of decoupling is a word that we use. They've become much more aggressive in the way that they handle things diplomatically. They become much more assertive in demanding what they want. This is causing conflict. So you have these two major superpowers of the world butting heads. And as that happens, this is causing some decoupling and deglobalization. So this is the first topic, globalization, and to a lesser extent, because textbooks have yet to catch up with it, deglobalization. So yeah, our graded discussion 1 is due this week, and you need to do a SmartBook reading this week. Then the next week, that's August 21. That's the second week of our classes. Again, you have a little video here. I'll just go into that and see what it is. Hey guys, Dr. Michael. Hey guys, Dr. Everything's going great in your world. We are starting into our second. All right. Give you an idea of what it's like, okay? Each week you'll have one of those, and these are videos that I put together, they're a year or two old, so some of the references might not be completely up to date. Alright, so anyway, reading assignment chapter 2. This week we have an ungraded discussion, and we have your first quiz, chapters 1 and 2. For week 3, we're talking about national differences in economic development, sometimes called emerging economies. Emerging economies are becoming much more important. We've got chapter 3. For our fun video, we got Johnny B. Good. Let's have a look at Chuck Berry here. Uh-oh. I apologize for that. We're not going to watch it. You can watch it later when you don't have to watch the commercials. Okay, Smart Book Chapter 3, and we have our graded discussion 2. For our 4th week, Differences in Culture. Here we introduce a guy named Hofstede. Hofstede is a big researcher who allowed us to measure differences across culture. The first person that came up with a way of doing that. So that's quiz 2. Then we talk about ethics, same sort of thing here. You start to see a pattern. Graded discussion 3. So every week you either have a quiz or graded discussion. And every week you have to do the Smart Book reading. Then we talk about international trade. We talk about government policy. Right, graded discussion 4. For this week, we talk about foreign direct investment. This is a movie, American Factory. If you haven't seen that, I would suggest you take a look at it. You can find that on Netflix. Alright, so that's quiz 4. Then we talk about, next week we're talking about regional economic integration, and that's the week of our midterm exam. Alright, midterm exam, it's going to be all essay questions. You know, open book, open notes, and it's going to ask you to reflect and think about the material. Okay. For the week of October 16th, we start talking about foreign exchange markets. We have our 5th quiz. For the week of October 23rd, we're talking about the international monetary system. For the week of October 30th, we're talking about global capital markets, how money is raised internationally. And this is the week that you need to submit your video. I'm going to put more up about what's expected of the video at a later date because I don't want to overwhelm you at the beginning of the class. Don't overthink it. Basically, you'll be doing what I'm doing right now. If you don't have access to a webcam, a laptop where you can, a program where you can record your video at home, you can go to the Center for Online Learning, 2nd floor of Wallace Hall. They have different places that they will allow you to make videos. Okay, that's the 6th quiz. Then, week of November 6th, Smart Book Chapter 13, we're talking about strategies. How strategies differ internationally as opposed to domestically. Week of November 13th, we're doing more how international, multinational corporations, you might say, are organized. Then we go to Thanksgiving break. And then, last thing we have is our final exam, which will be in the same format as the midterm exam, all essay, worth 225 points. More information will be posted about that later. Alright, so that's my little introduction. Let's make it a good semester. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or concerns, send me an email. Come by and see me during my office hours. And hey, good luck. I'm sure you're going to work hard. And yeah, I'll be talking to you later.